Lobster Magnet. Lobster's a 10, I told you grab it.
This video is brought to you by T-Blocks. Enjoy the content now, but stay for the shilling later. Welcome to Lobster Magnet's review, Welcome to Lobster Magnet and Friends. I'm here with my buddy Captain Crunch, who is sitting on my chest right now and acting very relaxed, and this is a very special review for something I usually don't do. Welcome to my first manga chapter review of My Hero Academia. Yeah! Woo-wee! Now, normally... Captain Crunch, you gonna be quiet now? You gonna be quiet? You gonna be quiet for the next people? Okay. Captain. So, welcome to My Hero Academia month. Basically, I'm going to be doing a special month because My Hero Academia is coming back, the anime is coming back in April, and I'm going to do a month of content basically focused on that, and to go along with that, I'm going to do manga reviews of the series, yeah! Obviously, I'm up to date, and I've been following it, and I mentioned that before, but the reason why I haven't done it before is because Goro, just wants to follow the anime, and I've never been able to get my buddy Zalo to, read the series. And I hate doing solo reviews. It's not fun. It just isn't. God damn it, Captain Crunch. Why are you so loud? You are just the worst bird ever. It's like, you're so quiet, and then I start talking, and it's like, no, I gotta make noise. Oh, okay, Captain Crunch, you want a Q-tip? You want a Q-tip? Oh, okay, there's a Q-tip. Go. Alright, so Captain Crunch is gonna be chewing on that Q-tip. He's gonna plus ultra that Q-tip. So we are here for My Hero Academia Manga Chapter 176. Now, this is like the big culmination. The series is an interesting place. The whole, I don't know what the last arc was really called. I guess the Eerie Rescue arc, or, Chikaski. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right. The Yakuza guy. That arc was very intense and dark, so... Now, Horikoshi is definitely, flipped on the other side, where basically we're getting a much more lighter arc that also has, this sort of, training thing for Midora. It's kind of, evolving his style. And one thing I was a little bit disappointed about, and I hope this pays off in the future, is that, he's getting breakdancing lessons from the pink girl, the pink alien girl. So I was hoping that, oh my god, he's going to incorporate... his breakdancing moves into his shoot style. So that'll be really cool. So he's like this plus ultra breakdance fighter. But so far that does not, seem to be the case. And I am honestly very disappointed by that. That, his upgrade is like a set of equipment gloves that allows him to do finger blasts. Which sounds really, really dirty when I think about it. It allows him to do the finger blasts without breaking his fingers. Which is, a neat upgrade as he sees that, oh, I need more distance attacks, I need more options, I can't just be kicking people all the time, although, one complaint I say, I loved it that the series built up this sort of oh my god, his arms are completely devastated, if he keeps on, plus ultraing, smashing people, his arms are going to be useless forever. But, then in, the most recent arc, he kicks, Yakuza guy a bunch of times, but, then he just winds up punching. And there's, a dumb excuse for, why he can keep on punching, is that he has that little airy girl. And one thing I was kind of surprised is that she didn't use her Deus Ex Machina powers to, turn it back to the point where his arms were 100%, because assumingly she could, have done that, but no, he's still at the point where his arms are kind of disabled-ish. But, he was still punching, and so I call bullshit on that, that convenient plot device, because, I like the idea that, he has to differentiate his fighting style from All Might's, and that he's, relying on kicks, so let's see him kick more, and let's see more dynamic kicks. No more Punch Boy action, god damn it. I want you to follow through with this. I don't want you to come up with more excuses for him to, continue to do, Punch Boy action when you set up the, it's like the Rocky movies where at the end of every other Rocky movie, they say, oh, Rocky, you get punched, you're not going to be able to see out of your right eye anymore. Oh, Rocky 3, Rocky's fine. Uh-oh, Rocky, if you do this, I don't know if you're going to be able to make it. Uh-oh. You got punched by Ivan Drago so hard that, like, you're shaking. You can't come to it. Oh, Rocky's gonna come back from go to the fighting. you know, they always keep on, like, threatening to have these debilitating career-ending injuries, but Rocky, you know, always manages to come back out, and, you know, that's one minor criticism I have for, you know, the mostly great Rocky series. So I kind of wish that would stick a little better for, you know, My Hero with Midoriya's, like, broken arms. But, you know, I guess you can only ask for so much, unfortunately. But, you know, I do like this sort of, like, pace and the idea that, like, this isn't, like, a world-saving arc. This is just sort of, like, Midoriya literally protecting his friend's happiness and the school's happiness because all the people are trying to give it their all for this, you know, UA school festival. And, you know, how it's built up over, you know, the arc of them just having, like, fun and, like, oh, let's prepare a dance session and let's do all this fun stuff. And, you know, it's a really cute arc, you know, them preparing the festival. And it's kind of funny. Horikoshi kind of, like, foreshadowed it because he'd do, like, sketches on Twitter where he'd show off essentially what was... what did he show off? Oh, yeah, he had, like, artwork of them, like, in a band, rocking it out. And now we actually have it in the real storyline, and I'm sure there's going to be an ending theme of them all just doing musical stuff. And it's cute, and it's charming, and it's interesting that we have, you know, Gentle, the gentle criminal, who for all intents and purposes, is a kind of a joke. You know, he's a joke in the universe. Nobody takes him seriously. He's got this, you know, probably the most interesting female character design in Horikoshi's entire career. The little midget girl, La Brava, or Lover, who's completely infatuated with, you know, the gentle criminal who thinks she's incredibly charismatic, even though the world thinks he's... And, you know, he's kind of a pathetic villain, but, you know, that's sort of the point. He's this sort of, like, weird guy who's, like, thinks he's, like, the hot shit, but, you know, isn't as cool as he thinks he is. But, you know, he poses a threat just because, you know, even if he's largely ineffectual, his presence on UA would destroy the festival. So that way we have emotional stakes, even though there aren't, like, physically strong restrictive stakes. And you know, it's a good little palate cleanser for, like, before, like, whatever the next big arc kicks off. And hopefully my boy Shigaraki comes back with those hands and a supervillain plan. You know, fingers crossed. I'm always rooting for you, Tomura Shigaraki. You know, you got a lot. I'll talk a little bit later in, like, a more full-fledged video about, like, Tomura's path of villainy and how far he's come since, you know, the last time I talked about how he's a terrible villain. And for all intents and purposes, he still is a terrible villain, but, you know, he's learned some lessons and starting to become a more charismatic leader. A little bit by bit. We're seeing growth, but he still needs a big victory, just like, you know, Deku's gotten some victories, but so far, Shigaraki has nothing. But, you know, I'm rooting for you, Shigaraki. But, Gentile, the gentle criminal, is definitely a good palate cleanser villain. Who, you know, suits this sort of much more lighthearted, playful arc after, you know, the much more dead serious, darker, more extreme arc of, you know, with the Hideout raid. Which was an interesting arc. Like, that arc, like, I think from a storytelling perspective, it's kind of mediocre, but I think from an art and presentation standpoint, Horikoshi just, like, plus ultra the shit out of that arc. He just drew the motherfucking crap out of it, and, you know, that's sort of like a scene that we'll see a lot in My Hero Academia, is the sort of idea that, you know, even when the storytelling, like, kind of falls below par, Horikoshi will come up with a, you know, he'll just draw the shit out of it. And he'll just sell these moments by, like, just drawing them as intensely as he can. And he does a great job with it. And I'm sure when that arc is eventually animated, it'll feel like the most incredible, best thing in the world. But, you know, there are a few, like, storytelling choices I thought were kind of weak in it. But, you know, we'll get into that when I eventually do a full video on it, which will be coming in April, because April's My Hero Academia month. So, you know, this was a good, you know, solid 8 chapter. I enjoyed it. It was nice to see, you know, Midoriya's confrontation with Gentil, as well as him whipping out his new incredible superpowered gloves. And I'm generally curious, because I feel like to have him just beat up Gentil would be a little bit too cruel, because, like, Gentil has been, like, you know, kind of built up as, like, an underdog villain for all intents and purposes. So I feel like Gentil will get into UA, but he'll, like, become part of the show somehow. they'll incorporate him in some sort of gaggy way, and then like he'll become like kind of a good guy, or at least not such a bad guy. Because like one of the lessons I think Midoriya is going to learn over the course of My Hero is to sort of empathize with the villains, to understand that like just beating them up isn't enough, that these are people who are displaced within the superhuman society, and that like his ultimate superpower will be the power of empathy. And I feel like, him somehow like reaching through to Gentil, the gentle criminal, and reforming him in a way, and then having him as like a supporting character in the future could go a long way towards like, being his ultimate arc, basically talk no jutsu that Naruto uses. And Midoriya is going to get his own form of talk no jutsu, and that'll be his greatest thing against villains. He's got to get the punch boy things, but then he'll learn that, the way he's going to exceed All Might is to understand these people and help these people in a way that's like more concrete than just beating the shit out of them. So, this could become the beginning of that arc. That longer term's development on his journey to become the greatest hero of all time. So, fingers crossed. Midoriya is supposed to be a smart boy, not just a punchy boy. So, I think this would be a great opportunity to sort of set that up. And keep Gentil around as just like this fun gag character, and La Brava. Oh, La Brava. I'm sure, you midget fans out there who like your anime midgets, all two of you are probably, oh my god, she's the best character ever. I love her. It's interesting because like Horikoshi's like done a very good job of drawing like kind of very erotic, curvy character designs, but mostly being very tasteful. I wouldn't say My Hero Academia is like the most fan servicey series, although there is like some, or at least it's like kept to a very tasteful degree. And like she's probably, his most interesting, eccentric female character design, and also his most like, I'd say conventionally unerotic one. So I'm kind of curious to see if she like, what will the larger, anime fan culture think of her? Will she be like this paragon of love? Will people just say like, ew, I don't like weird little midget girl? Will she be the Penny of My Hero Academia? And for those of you not in the know, in the most recent book, A Dance with Dragons, George R.R. Martin introduces this other dwarf who's like a quasi-love interest for Tyrion. I mean, you're basically thinking that like, oh, Tyrion, here's a dwarf girl for you. Although, they never sleep with each other, but you're in the back of your mind, everyone's thinking like, oh man, I can't wait to see Tyrion like have like this love experience with this freaking girl who's his own size. Ha ha ha, maybe. They'll become the ultimate dwarf power couple in Westeros. Possibly. But they didn't put her in the TV show because I assume the pragmatic. Well, one, she doesn't really do much, and two, she doesn't have much to the story, and three, I guess HBO's like, fuck it, we don't want to give some poor dwarf actress her career-making role. Nobody gives a shit about dwarves or midgets in media, in superhero action fantasy stories, except for the Tyrion, or at least female dwarves. I guess there's maybe dwarf media discrimination, unless it's for a gag thing. So maybe La Brava, lover, is breaking down barriers by being this dwarf sidekick woman. Or maybe, is that her quirk that she's small? Maybe there aren't dwarves in the My Hero Academia universe. Maybe that's her quirk, that she's just like small. Anyway, we'll have to wait and see. I'm morbidly curious to see what happens with her. God, I should go look up and see if there's any fan fiction or fan art of her. That's always like a good indication of like how a character is being received by the communities, like how it's being interpreted in fan art. And I haven't gotten to look to see if like the gentle criminal and lover, La Brava are well appreciated. But I think that's a rabbit hole I'm kind of curious to look into. In my next review, I will report upon those findings and let you guys know how the internets are responding. So, thank you for sitting around for the first ever My Hero Academia solo review. Maybe someday I'll find a co-host to do these with, but I'm going to do these all throughout the month of April. because that's My Hero Month. I'm going to endure talking alone with my crazy bird just for you guys. And thanks for hanging out. Remember, lobster's and tennis, but don't you grab it. Do you like clothes but hate shopping? Then T-Blocks is the subscription service for you. But I know what you're thinking. But Lobster, how is that any different than Loot Crate or the other subscription services? Well, T-Blocks sends you t-shirts, which is clothing, which is actually useful, unlike the useless swag junk that Loot Crate keeps peddling on gullible schmucks. And this isn't just knockoff brand crap. T-Blocks hooks you up with licensed shirts for all the stuff you love, because you need clothes. How else are you going to keep your puny human man flesh protected from the elements? T-shirts are useful for any occasion. Wear them, give them to friends, give them to enemies, knit them together, make a quilt. T-shirts are life. And you know the best part? It'll only cost you $6.99. That's right, you can get 12 shirts sent to you for once a month for only $6.99. And you know what? If ultra cheap licensed goods are too basic for you, then there's also the Community T-Block set, which features original designs from the best up-and-coming artists so you can keep that hipster street cred. But I'm here to save you even more money! Use the code LOBSTERTBX at checkout and you'll save 10% on any order. Be a t-shirt wearing god amongst mortals. Use the power of the most expensive seafood to get you the cheapest t-shirts now!
Magazine fire!